Welcome back to Culture Shift with Duda Penchado, the archivist. This is a space here that we talked about intersections of art, culture, community, technology, education. We want to know what's going on today. And I have a special guest today with me right here in the studio, and her name is Donia. And we're gonna talk about how you open your business, but she's an amazing photographer, and we're gonna explore a lot of that angle today. So welcome.
Thank you, Duda. Thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you.
Yes, it's awesome. So let me think about it. You know, when we think about becoming an artist, right? A
Yeah.
photographer is an artist,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um, when did it start for you? It did that start when you were like a little girl? What was the spark of this thing?
Yeah. So I always had like this love for art ever since I was a little girl. So you hit the nail on the head. Whenever I would visit, family overseas, I would always give them the gift of art. So I would sit and custom make art for every single person in the family. And then when I get there, I would hand it out to them. So my art did start when I was younger. And then in school, my favorite classes were always anything that was art based, anything that was architecture based. I never really liked anything that wasn't art, like had an art foundation to it. And then when I went in college, I yeah.
Wait. Let's stay there. So when you let me see if I get this. When you
Yeah.
because when I was a kid, my mother tells me then I was attracted to crayons and colors, and I'm playing with clay, stuff like that. So there were signs of things the way I was looking, things I were looking at, and also things she told me when I was around art, I would spend hours and hours doing that. How was that for you? What was the thing? You
Yeah.
like movies, you like to look at art.
Yeah.
What was happening with you as a little girl? And
Yeah.
what age you think that would start happening?
I like to draw a lot. I used to love to
Drawing.
paint a lot. That was probably like maybe when I was like in kindergarten, first grade. And I know like, you're probably thinking when you're in kindergarten, first grade, that's usually what people like kids of that age drift to. But that kind of just stuck with me throughout my life. Like I remember distinctly coloring books were my favorite thing.
Mm.
My rides to school consisted of me sitting in the back coloring something, drawing something. I would like print something out from from the computer and try to draw something similar to it. I would take like a picture of like an object and try to draw something similar to it.
Mhm.
I would ask my parents for art courses, but of course, like I come from a cultural background where art isn't really, why are you focusing so much on art? Focus more on numbers, like engineering, being a
Well, yeah,
doctor.
you're just going to the next question
Yeah.
because some parents embrace that. That's the
Yeah.
history of every other family.
Yeah.
Some parents, you'll give you a little bit of that, let they have fun, and we need to move on.
Yes.
But for us and for artists, no
Yes.
matter what kind of artist they become, they start spending a lot of
Yes.
time. Most of
Yes.
the time when I'm talking to them as a kid, you see those signs. So
Yes.
what was happening? First, they like empower you a little bit, and they were like, enough, let's go on
Yes.
to something
I
else.
think they felt like it was more of like a hobby, something on the side, and they
Um,
kind of wanted me to focus on other things. But I don't know. I loved art. It was just something relaxing for me. I found myself in it, and growing up, it was just something I always constantly drifted towards. I just love creativity. And I found myself doing the same thing in high school, and I found myself doing the same thing in college.
so before we get to college, we know we love drawings and coloring, and that was the natural instinct. As you getting older, going to high school, would you exploring like theater or movies or
Mm.
photography? I know today they have very, I don't know your time. In my time, they didn't have a lot of that, but today they have a lot of programs and gives like teenagers in high school, they can do photography, they
Yeah.
can do film, have a lot of that. Uh, what it happens to you when you were at the high school level?
I don't think I ever thought about going into theater or acting or any of that. I don't think that was like something that was of interest to me. I still stuck to the pen and paper and painting and having a canvas and still
Like the
do
behind the scenes
behind the
stuff.
scenes stuff. Funny enough, photography was not on my mind. It was not something I
Mm.
considered. I think it's because at the time we might have had photography courses in school, but I was just not focusing on it. So I still stuck to the whole coloring, drawing, painting aspect of the art. So photography itself was not something on my mind in high school yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you went through high school. I'm assuming you kept making art, sort
Yeah.
of behind the
And
scenes.
also to add, I think a part of it is because we had at that time I didn't have it. iPhones weren't a thing. I had like a I don't even I had like a flip phone. So like a flip phone, you couldn't really do much with the camera. So
Mm.
so I couldn't really experiment much. And experimenting with photography came when the iPhone became a thing.
Yeah, that came later. We're
Yeah.
gonna get into technology. So yeah, that's important what you mentioned because when I started studying, I had to learn everything the traditional way.
Yeah.
Remember, today you have the iPhone, you can film, you can do this, you can even make art with you have the right
Yeah.
app.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things you can do. But back then you really needed to study the traditional ways, and
Yes.
they were more expensive. They took more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
We needed to
And I
go.
couldn't afford any of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. So it wasn't even an option.
I see it. But then you go through high school,
Yeah.
and then after high school, I'm sure your parents and people, what you gonna be in life and
Yeah.
what you're gonna study.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what happened the next step. You mentioned that you study engineering and architecture.
Yeah.
Explain to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I actually went to NJIT and I studied I went in as a civil engineer. I did not like the first semester of it. It was too many numbers. It wasn't my thing. Didn't have an ounce of creativity in it. I felt like it was too dry for me and I couldn't continue with it. So I did what was the exact opposite of everybody what they were doing. So typically people transfer out of architecture and go into engineering. I did the
Mm.
opposite. I went from civil engineering into architecture school. So everybody thought I was crazy. But I went in and I loved it. Uh, I don't know if they still do that now, but the first semester you do a lot of like hand drawing and I was just like in love with it. And I felt like,
And
yeah,
AJIT is
and
right here in
NJIT.
Newark, right?
Yeah, it's in
I
Newark.
actually gave a lecture there at one point. I gave a lecture on creative placemaking,
Ah,
a
yes.
special workshop they were doing there.
You were probably in the interior design building.
Yes, I was
Yes.
probably there, and it was about public art.
Yes.
But this is like super cool. So I didn't know. I actually also participated in an exhibition. I have a gallery
Oh,
there. A few
nice.
years ago, I participated in a group
What year?
exhibition. I would say 15 years ago. I don't remember.
Maybe it was when I was there.
Maybe you were a student there. Oh my God. Yes, that's possible.
I graduated in 2017.
Oh, yes. I love that school. That school is a great reputation.
Yeah.
And so I had no idea they were doing drawing classes inside. I used the stack and engineering. I found that strange when they invite me to be in an exhibition in the gallery. I'm like, wow, I didn't know they have a gallery
Yeah,
here.
they do
They do, and
in the
it's a great
architecture building.
gallery actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me more. So you shift, and now you in architecture.
Yes. So then, like I said, everybody thought I was crazy going into architecture school because it's a much more rigorous program. It's 5
Mm.
years. Studios are long and hard. The critiquing is very hard. You're putting more money out of your pocket to get a specific computer, to get more like canvases, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, I went through with it. Loved the first semester. I felt like I was like home there. I loved what I was doing, and I was like,
Mm.
you know, what, I'm just gonna push through this program. And I studied architecture, and then midway, I picked up an engineering degree. And that was just to balance like kind of like things out. I guess I was taking like on 18 to 20 credits a semester, so I had a few credits at the end of the year, and I was like, why not take on some engineering? So I got bachelor's of in engineering as well. But I loved it, and the bachelor's of engineering didn't really bother me because I feel like because I already did what I wanted in the creativity realm. So I kind of took what I did in architecture school and kind of applied it to what I was doing in engineering school. And then I felt like I was a little bit more balanced as opposed to just doing engineering.
So were you really good with numbers as well?
No, I still am not. I
Oh my
don't like
God.
numbers.
How you get through engineering
I
school?
know, 'cause I'm just I'm good when it comes to studying, but I did I like it? No, it was very forced, it was very forced. I felt like I was forced to do it, but when I draw, when I create, I don't feel like I'm
Yeah.
forced, it comes
Yeah.
naturally to me and I'm happy. I could be up pulling all-nighters and I'm still happy about it.
I love what you're saying because most of the artists that I know, and that was my case. My father was a sort of famous mathematician, professor of economics
Yeah.
in Brazil, in my country, in São Paulo. And I was like, I don't have this numbers thing inside of me. I
Yeah.
just didn't I wasn't born with the thing in my
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah.
And I struggle with the math and I was never
Mhm.
interest, was
Yeah.
never something easy. And art was always something easy for me.
Yes.
I spent a lot of hours. So, later on, I study a lot of different things and I study the brain and obvious the creativity, the ideal space, and so be conscious and all those
Yeah.
layers there on the right side of the brain. And the math and the logic is the left side of the brain.
Yes.
So I realized that the other side of the brain for me was much more active,
Yes.
even though they interconnected. And I find most of artists, that's why I was super curious. Engineering, engineering, photographer. Well,
Yeah.
I would say photography has this very technical element, and
Yes.
maybe there's something there that helped you.
Yes. 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 So, the technical element of it is you kind of have to know ratios, you kind of have to know colors, you kind of have to know how to make sure that the grid is balanced. You just have to understand like that technical aspect of it. But I don't think I focus so much on the technical aspect of it. Um I feel like I focus more on the artistic aspect of it. And then the technical aspect just kind of flows with it, to be honest. The technical aspect of things, how do I connect it to the engineering? I'm just wondering. Uh, um,
Maybe you don't know it till today, but it's there somewhere.
it could be. It could
Yeah,
be. I
yeah.
mean, uh,
I think maybe help you to create processes.
oh yes. So
Uh,
like that's definitely because also have my master's from NYU.
oh
NYU
my
Poly.
God, you're well
Yeah.
accomplished.
Yes. So I guess somewhat. So the engineering aspect, I guess, came from my more so from my master's than my
Mm,
undergrad. And what I would say is, photography itself has a lot of people management
mm,
and a lot of planning. So I guess if you would consider that the technical aspect of it,
yeah.
that I would say yes, that's the technical
Yeah,
aspect
and
of
and I,
it.
and I love that because I think a lot of people don't think about all the, say, I'm going to use the word, the engineering behind, all the planning
Oh
behind,
yes, yes,
and there's a lot of it. There's technology involved. There are people,
yes,
there are crews, there are
yes,
budgets, and
yes,
and somehow there's this myth artist just kind of appears.
yes,
Picasso made a brush stroke. Oh my God! But there's entire process to,
yes,
I'll say, to get to that final brush stroke,
yes.
right? And I'm speaking poetically now, but everything has a big process. And artists, with time, the more they trying things, the more they perfect the system.
Yes,
And that's what I call the engineering, right? Of
100%.
something.
Yeah.
Not just technically, it's
Yes.
just like the process. How you downpack
Yeah.
the entire process, then maybe it's perfect for you, and that
Mhm.
formula does not work for the other person.
Yes, I would say, like, if I was to talk about, like, the wedding photography when I first started versus now.
Wait, we're gonna get there.
Okay.
I have one. So let's just go back to this. So you went and you got two diplomas, a master's degree, and then you're like, wow, you accomplished all of that. Now let's go for the big lip here. You did all of that, and apparently, if I'm wrong, correct me. You did not get the engineering job. you didn't like the architectural job. Some way through the path, you like bump into photography.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how that happened.
Yeah. So actually, when I graduated from my undergrad, I did land an engineering job, and I still am working an engineering job.
Oh, okay. So you still did something on that
Yes,
area.
essentially, I still do both full time. And then when I was working on my master's, so we all know NYU Poly is very expensive. So I had to figure out a way to make money on the side. I was still working full time, but I needed an extra cash flow. So my friend, a really close friend of mine, she suggested, "Why don't you do photography? You love it so much." How did you know I loved it so much? I had an
Oh, that's
iPhone.
the question.
Yeah.
How did you know? How you know you love photography? What happened?
Yeah, so I basically had an iPhone at the time, and I would do a lot of architectural photography.
Ah,
And
okay.
the first thing I got into is architectural photography.
So you walking around New York City with the
Yes.
camera, getting the angles.
Yes. Just the iPhone. I didn't have a camera yet.
Oh,
Just the
wow.
iPhone, walking around, getting certain angles, even when I was interning. So the first time I held a camera, to backtrack, was when I was interning at this engineering firm. And
Mm.
the one of my coworkers saw that I was very interested in photography. So he gave me a Canon and he was like, "Here, go take architectural photos with this camera." And I was like, "Sure, okay." And I took the camera and I started shooting first time with the Canon, just architectural construction stuff. And that was the first time I ever held a camera. And then I said, "Wow, I really like this more than the iPhone." And then I took that with me, continued doing it outside of work, not with the camera, just the iPhone. Then I would go to my friend who suggested I do photography to her children's birthday parties, and I would shoot on the iPhone and I would get certain angles. And she's like, "You have an eye for it." So she was like, "Why don't you do this for like, to make cash?" And I was like, "Oh, you're so funny. Who's going to pay me to take photos?" So she was like, "Just try it. What are you going to lose?"
How old were you when that happened?
Oh my gosh, I was probably, I'm gonna say like 22, 23, 22, 23,
Around there.
around there, yeah.
And then did you believe it? Like you're like, oh, like you're in this process of discovering yourself right there, right?
Yes, I was still, yeah, 'cause I was like, "Who's gonna hire me? Who's gonna pay me? Is this
Right, right,
even
right,
a
right.
thing? How are people gonna hear about me? I'm gonna put all this money that I don't have into a camera, and then we're just gonna sit here and wait for work to come." So, anyways, I would like I went out, I listened to her, bought a camera for, like, almost 4K. I only had 6K in my account, so
And that was back then when you're 22, 23.
yeah,
4K was a lot of
and I
money.
was
We'll say,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe we like to say America, there's inflation, but there is
Yes,
inflation.
yeah.
Maybe 7,000 today, 8,000,
Probably,
probably
yeah.
something around there.
And mind you, I was doing my master's, so, like, I
Oh,
was paying for
yeah,
my
yeah. That was
master's.
very courageous.
So it was like, okay. And I remember sitting there and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I bought this camera that I barely know how to use, and now I have to make this money back." And she was like, "You'll make it back. You'll make it back." Anyways, I started shooting for free for a few of my friends for free. And I was like, "I need a portfolio. Let me shoot a bridal shower here. Let me shoot like a maternity thing here." And then one little
Mm.
by little would start to post, and little by little people would inquire, and little by little I would get work to come in, and work started coming in, that I met other photographers, I met other videographers, I became part of a community. And I started networking more. And then little by little, I started building what I had. So I started shooting smaller things.
Wait, just a second there, because I think you touched something very important.
Yeah.
You're talking in a very natural way about the process,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of people sometimes see later on, oh my God, you're so lucky. You got this chance. But what people don't know is like
Yeah.
the real story. Then you took your own money, you bought the camera, and now you're going around shooting some scenes or whatever for free.
Yeah.
And you probably spend 6 months, a
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
shooting for free.
Yeah.
So you not only invest money, now invest in time
Time.
and continuous money
Yeah.
to be able to create a portfolio. And I think today we live in this society, then instant
Gratification.
gratification, and it's like it's a click away,
Yeah.
and you think that things are gonna happen like that. In reality, they don't.
Yeah.
And so you spend a year,
Yeah.
you put money, time, and money again,
Yeah.
and then at one point, boom, something happened.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, to go a little back, part of that process also was trying to figure out my aesthetic.
Yes.
So trying to figure out what color my pictures are going to be, what everything I didn't know. So that was hard in itself. One client would like one aesthetic, another client would like another aesthetic, and I didn't have an aesthetic. So trying to figure out an aesthetic was something hard for me itself, and that was part of the process as well. Until I finally found an aesthetic, and that one, yeah.
And that took what, a year and a half? I think that's important because
Oh,
one was I was talking about investment, but you brought a very second important point,
yeah.
which is finding style, aesthetic,
Yes.
a way of expressing yourself, right?
Yes.
So how long does that take
Takes a while.
to find? Because I mean, those things are together, but not exactly, because
Yeah.
maybe you'll learn how to use the camera, you create a portfolio, and maybe people start hiring you.
Yes.
And to the process of hiring you, you're still finding yourself, right?
Yes.
So was it year investing
No.
and then to get you going with the basic portfolio?
Yeah.
Year and a half. What was?
Probably like a year and a half to get going with the basic portfolio, and that's still like me trying to figure out what my aesthetic and my style is.
And then aesthetic and style.
Two different things.
I
And to me,
I know, I get it, but another year and a half. You say
no.
that?
I think I found my aesthetic and my style probably three, 3.5 years later.
Talk a little bit about that now. Aesthetic and style.
I think because I started shooting a certain culture at first, and they expected a certain style and certain aesthetic. And I was kind of like stuck. And I was like, do I stick with this or do I do something that works for everybody? Do I stick with this or do I do something that works for everybody? And in that process, when I started wanting to branch out to different clients, I wanted to be multicultural. I didn't want to stick to one culture. That's when I was like, okay, this is the aesthetic that I need to stick with. And this is the style that I want to be known for. And once I sat, tried it, took a look at it, started applying the style little by little. Every single shoot I did, started applying that style, started applying that aesthetic. I fell more and more in love with it. And at that point I knew that if someone came and told me, I don't like your style, I don't like your aesthetic, I was okay with it because I loved it. And if you love it, you could book me. If you don't, I'm sorry, you don't have to. But
Wow.
before, I would be like, "Oh, you don't like it? Oh, maybe I could change it. Oh, you don't like the oh, maybe you know what? Maybe I'll adjust this." But I feel like I had reached a point where it's like, I really love this now. This is what I like, and now I have to work on making it perfect each and every time. Like, it's not done yet, but I'm on the route of like, this is the style I want to go for, and I want to perfect it every single time I shoot.
So that's awesome. I think what you're talking now is amazing because first with initial investment, but now in the process of, you say, extra 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah.
You're developing, but one point you found Donia,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that moment that is expresses in a way of presenting and style and expression,
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm comfortable with myself.
Yes. Yes.
And now what we're gonna do here, I think you brought some photos, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask the production to put that. Is those photos
The
with
TWA.
the TW with the architecture, right?
Yeah.
Can we put those photos there? And tell me a little bit about what happened there. Why is that the defining moment for Donia finding Donia?
So they were a couple of mine. They were getting married. This was their engagement shoot. Um, the this is TWA Hotel. It was built designed by an architect called Eero Saarinen. I might be pronouncing his name wrong, but I just loved in architecture school. I never liked anything boxy. I liked everything curves. Curves were my thing. I loved it. Even in my designs, curves were my thing. I was known as the little Zaha Hadid. Um,
Wow, cool. Yeah. You
yeah,
kind of have like the air of Zaha Hadid. I actually love her architecture.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a Zaha Hadid element
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I saw this location, I felt like it was perfect for this bride and groom. So the bride is actually an interior designer, and she actually graduated from NJIT as well. And I just felt like it was just perfect for her, and she had the style for it, and we planned the outfits, we planned the hair, we planned everything down to what she was gonna hold in her hand, and it was just perfect for her. And then when we went there and we started shooting with the props and everything, I felt everything coming together. I felt very happy when I was shooting because I felt like the me mixing her and her groom with the architecture there, it just flowed really nicely with the light, and that was when I was like, "Wow, I really finally made that connection between what I studied versus what I taught myself, and now I'm applying everything all together." And that was like my aha moment, and I was like, "Okay, it's only gonna go up from here." I look back at the photo shoot, and this is probably one of my favorite, engagement shoots I've ever I've ever done. It
Mm.
actually went viral too, and it was copied many times, but that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about that, but keep playing the odd
yeah,
ones. So it's very interesting. I think that moment, consciously or unconsciously, you're
yeah.
like embracing architecture and
Architecture.
composition
Yes, with their personalities.
with personalities,
Yes.
and that you here is the Donia who study architecture, and here is Donia who is the little girl who love painting, drawing. Here's Donia creating an entire process to explore all of these elements
Oh, dude, you're gonna
together.
make me emotional.
Yeah, yeah. So I get it. It makes totally sense.
Yeah.
The photographer with the passion, architecture, art composition. This is cool. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Now, my next question is, I know in the process of working with mentors, we could talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Everybody has a mentor. So far, I understand that this friend or somebody work with you. No, you really have this talent, photographer, pursue. And I think this is important to say
Yeah.
every professional, but artists sometimes they need so much more encouragement because
Yeah.
you're sort of venturing something, then
Yeah.
sometimes there is no really a process
Yes.
behind it. People say you're crazy to be an artist or a photographer. Why are you gonna do that? So there's so much more uncertainty I guess in this area. But um I know I ask you just to select the bulk of a quote. You select the quote.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that particular quote. I found that very interesting. Tell us what the quote is and what happened with that.
Yeah. So my favorite quote is to the most important thing is to keep the most important thing as the most important thing.
I got. I never heard that one. I read that like 3 times. I was like, wow, this is like really interesting. It's getting to the point.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's like basically whatever is most important to you right now has to stay as the most important thing until another important thing comes along and that becomes the important thing. So, if photography is you want to become one of the best at photography, then that has to be the most important thing for you until you achieve that goal, even if it's at 85%, 90%, whatever, because you're never going to really fully achieve anything, right? When it's in the arts, like you're always constantly setting the bar higher for yourself until you achieve a certain point, and then something else becomes the more important thing. You can't focus on 100 things at a time and become you can't be the jack of all trades. Like if you're going to be the jack of all trades, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to focus
Mm,
on the one thing that you really want to get
mm,
done and then keep something else as secondary and something else as a third, but keep the most important thing as the most important thing. Whether it's a thing, that thing could be a person, an item, an object, a thought, a process, whatever it is.
I like that quote, and it makes me think about many times I deal with different kinds of artists, and there's a very big distinction of artists and people who set goals and accomplish the goals. And many times I talk to artists who has these ideas all the time.
Yeah.
And when I'm mentoring new students, I go to them, well, those ideas are great, but what are the steps you taking to accomplish,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Ideas obviously is the first thing on everything,
Yeah.
but if you can accomplish the 10 ideas, can you accomplish 3, 2,
Yes.
5, or
Yeah.
then, and what's the process that is going to take it?
Yeah.
I think it's a very important.
Yeah,
And
because maybe when you accomplish the first 3, it'll change what you're gonna do for the next 7, you know?
yes, that's awesome. So say that again. What's the
The quote?
the code? The code.
The most important thing is to keep the most important thing as the most important thing.
Did you guys get out there? Keep the most important thing, the most important thing. This is about process. I love it. And somehow we connect to your engineering part, I feel right now. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. That it kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a very like sort of technical code.
Yeah, it's kinda like,
You
what are
know,
we troubleshooting first?
yeah, and it feels to me then you very aware of that. And and
Yeah.
and and maybe that's why you accomplish success in a short period of time.
Quite
Because
possibly.
you're like, I'm gonna go to the process and I'm gonna understand what's the first thing, what's the second thing, the third thing to do, so I can get
Yeah.
5, 10, 20 things done,
I'm
right?
very type A.
Right, right.
I can't just be surprised by something. I have to know what I'm doing next and what's happening in the following. I can't like book my flight the night before. I have to book my flight 2 weeks in advance. You know what I
Right,
mean?
planning.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm a type A person, and it drives me crazy when I don't have organization in my life. So I think that just kind of goes
Mhm.
hand in hand with that.
Yeah, what's the most important thing? But I agree with you. Planning is such a key thing to deal with budgets and
Yes.
maximize your time in a proper way.
Yeah,
You
because you're gonna
know,
pay more if you do things last minute.
yeah, yeah. And
You're gonna pay a lot more.
I think there's a big lesson for artists or people who wants to be artists because a lot of the schools and people always thinking about, oh, who has the next great idea?
Yes.
But great ideas with process
Yes.
and really think about the reality or implementing something,
Yeah.
it just never gets accomplished. It never
Yeah.
gets concrete.
Yeah.
So I think this is I like your quote. Yes, awesome.
Thanks.
What I wanted to talk to you is let's move on. So at some point here, you decide to open a company, create a name,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming you already had your style ready,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm ready for this.
Yeah. I actually started when I first started, the company name was Donia Photography.
Mm.
Then the name shifted a few years after to Donia Wedding Arts.
Okay, Donnie, I think now we get into what really our photography became about.
Yeah.
Because after this entire process, now we begin to tell me that you specialized in a wedding.
Yes.
But I think what really behind this idea of weddings and events is probably interest in people,
Yes.
right? But before you answer that, let's you want to drink something
Yeah.
Topo
Yeah.
Chico
Let's go.
sparkling water
Yeah.
flavor sparkling water
Yeah.
is my favorite one.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different ones. I hope you'll enjoy. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
one key. That's the perfect right here.
This is really good. It's like a healthier version of everything else carbonated. I like seltzer water. This one probably tops them.
This one is sweet and lime.
Mhm.
One of my favorites. I really enjoy. Cheers, cheers.
Cheers to that.
Okay, so I think now in a crucial moment, how Donia is becoming Donia, right?
Yeah.
And so you gave a name to your company. I'm assuming that now you really know the niche what you want to do.
Yes.
And for me, what transpires is you love to like work with people, right?
Yes. So that's why I did name shifted from Donia Photography to Donia Wedding Arts. Yep. To really embrace my style and really embrace working in the wedding industry more.
Can we show? I want to show some photos,
Yeah, I would love
and I'm gonna
to.
ask the production to just. You want to name which ones you want to show because
Sure, we could start with this. This was an editorial I did. It was actually for the magazine Celebrate Weddings. That's the cover. So I got a cover for the magazine. It was shot at the farmhouse in New Jersey. And the band behind the couple is Sugar Lane, and the two were hired models that worked perfectly with one another. And then these are just a few photos from the editorial I did. It was for the winter edition of the magazine, so that's why we see a lot of snowflakes. And then decor was done by Nada from Wedded Events.
I
So
want to make a comment on this photo
yeah,
here. I look this photo and I can see there's you're exploring architecture again,
yes.
and it's very theatrical.
It is. It's one of the most important moments in the wedding. It's the first dance. So we decided to make that moment, the first dance moment, to be the cover of the magazine.
Here is what I see, like your level education, like New York City, not just going to the school, but the whole environment where the school is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then you're exploring New York City, and
yeah.
somehow that's transpiring to finding
Scenes.
what is the thing, what is
Yeah,
the scene, right?
scene.
And also I love um the way you like it's very theatrical.
Yes, it's very detailed. Like the snowflakes were intentional. The color of the florals were intentional. Her dress choice, like I took a while. That was by Lux and Lace. Demetrios by sold at Lux and Lace. Her dress choice was a winter dress, and this was shot in the middle of the summer. So, everything,
Wow.
even his blazer choice, I didn't opt with the
Mm,
black. We went with a nice burgundy, and that's more of a winter color. So everything was very intentional.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
um the next set of photos is the one with horses, right? You tell a
Yes.
little bit, tell me, give some context what happened there.
So actually that's a little further away from the wedding world, but it was actually a coincidence. So I shot a lot of my couples actually at this farm. It's at a farm in Misty Hollow Farm in Princeton. And the owner of the farm, I had a really good relationship with her. She used to see my photos and she knew I was very editorial. Um, and so this nice lady, she was from Vietnam, and she was visiting, and she told the owner, "Hey, I want an editorial photographer to shoot me on the horse." She has a fashion line, so all the outfits she's wearing, that's all designed by her, even the jewelry. So at first, I didn't believe it. I spoke to the lady. The lady was like, "Yeah, I want you to come in and do this for me, and I'll get you featured in Harper's Bazaar." And I was like, "Okay, this is really weird, but sure." And she's like, "I'll pay you for your services as well." I was like, "Okay." So even if I don't get featured, at least I got paid for my services. So
That's a great thing, you know.
right? Yeah. So I was like, "Okay." So we went. It was a really hot day. Flies were everywhere. Um, and we went and we shot this. And then little did I know, it didn't get featured in Harper's Bazaar. And I didn't realize how big of a publication that was until people were like, "Oh wow, I can't believe you got that publication." I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess it's pretty big. It's bigger than I thought." And yeah, it was nice. And I had already had so much practice shooting horses. There's like a specific technique to shoot horses. Their ears have to be a certain way, their legs have to be a certain way, their eyes have to be a certain way. You're also
Mm.
focusing on her and how she's looking, and it's hot out and there are flies. So a lot of little aspects coming into play when shooting this.
So I love that because thank you for the background because
Yeah.
people might think was it's easy to shoot horses,
Oh
but you
no.
already spend a lot of time with horses.
Oh yes.
So you studying the subject matter,
Yes.
how to deal with. I mean, those are living
Living creatures.
creatures that
Yeah.
are moving, they
Yeah.
doing things, and they look very natural,
Yes.
and that's what I said. When you say weddings, you like weddings plus events. This is
Yes.
like an event,
Yes.
and they came very beautiful, very
Thank
natural.
you.
And again, the centerpiece for you is people. It's
Yes.
like the excuse for you to work everything around,
Yes.
is put the people
Yes.
and frame the people in the context
Mm.
or something.
Yes.
So yeah, I love this. They are beautiful photos.
Thank you.
Wow, it's great.
Thank you.
Um, I know we have some other photos. What
Yes.
what are the other set you want to show me?
Yeah. So it was an editorial done in Morocco.
Wow.
So this was in Marrakesh. It was in the luxury Agafay desert. And that one I felt like I was home. I'm from the Middle East, and I've always wanted to shoot in the desert. And so this was perfect for me. I loved it. It got featured in Muna Lucci Bride, so I was very happy about that. And I just felt like because so this is different. I'm so used to shooting around architecture, and now the architecture became the sand, and the rocks, and then in the sky, and the nature,
Mm,
and it was just a different way of shooting that I absolutely fell in love with. And instead of having horses, I had camels. So it was
right.
very similar, not the same, but it was very similar, but I enjoyed it a lot. It was
I,
very
I
ethereal.
I love it the way like there's design, composition, color, monochromatic kind of thing
Yeah,
here, and
yeah.
you're just very intentional by that,
Yes,
So all the architectural,
yes,
compositional, consciously and unconsciously now, and I understand what you mean. I
yes,
found myself you bringing that without being forceful, if I
yes,
might say that. It's just like part of what you're doing now.
yes,
It just comes together
yeah,
and gives, like, I think, really context.
yes.
This is great.
Thank you.
Now, we're gonna take advantage of this moment because we talk about process, about working with animals and your background. Let's talk about this important thing. We're in the 21st century
Yeah.
now. I want to know your feedback in the area of technology. We talked a little bit about that about your first camera. How's technology playing? It helps you,
Yeah.
and are you using AI? What's going on in the world for you?
Yeah. So technology, the cameras are a lot much better now. Like, they now have like the a better sensor tracking, so that helps with a lot of movement. Dealing with low light, love that. Also AI, I use AI not for my editing, but I use it, well, I guess yes, in editing, but to remove items that are unwanted. So to remove something from a photo that I didn't want a few years ago would take a while. It would take a lot of time. It was actually a hassle. Now it's just a click of a button and boom, it's gone. You want to replace something in the background, boom, it's there. So that's definitely how I would say, like, technology is being applied now. It's helping, not hurting. I think a lot of people say the technology hurts us, but if you know how to use it, it actually helps you a lot.
I think we actually in this flip side of this today, which is there is a lot. That's obvious not your case because we've been talking about how you got here, but there's a lot of people I feel today confused. Like, oh, I know how to hold a camera. I know
Yeah.
how to use this technology.
Yes.
And so my conversation is: do you know the statics? Do you know how to tell a story?
Yes.
Do you have historical background? Do you
Oh
have all
yes.
the other elements to really make you
Oh
the
yes.
artist?
Yeah.
So
Let's
I
talk about
think
that.
before was like, oh, we have all this expensive technology,
Yeah.
less accessible,
Yeah.
and you have great artists or prepared people who study all kinds of things to put their hands on that, and it
Yeah.
was hard in a way because not everybody had the budget.
Yeah.
But now we're on the other side, technology and research and so many tools, AI, and is much cheaper,
Yeah.
Even you could do a lot of stuff with the iPhone now.
Yes.
When you started, probably the quality of iPhone wasn't good, but now
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yes.
People are doing films with iPhone
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like this generation, they need to prepare themselves a little more with the other part of it.
Yes. I agree. I agree. It's like, it's like saying, wow, your camera really took nice photos, right? If you have a high-end camera or wow, your pen really drew a nice art piece of artwork. It wasn't your pen, it wasn't your camera. Camera was just something to enable you to do it. What I often see is a lot of like people copying other people, right?
Let's talk about that. That's important.
Not being creative. And it's okay to copy. I am a firm believer that you have to copy someone. You have to have an inspiration to copy when you first begin. And it's part of the process of finding yourself. But I think now when you find yourself, when your picture drops on social media or you see it hung somewhere on a billboard or on a canvas, you see it, you're like, oh, I know this belongs to this artist. I know this belongs to this photographer. So I think sometimes the new photographers, the upcoming photographers, they don't know how to differentiate between that, or they become very cookie cutter. So they'll see like a pose someone did and they're like, okay, I'm going to apply this pose now to my couple. But can you really apply that pose to your couple? Does your couple have the ability to pose like that? Does it work for them? Did you study your couple? Do you know if they work better when they're smiling or when they're serious? Do you know if their bodies could move like that? What if they're a bit heavier? What if they're a bit skinnier, right? What if that location doesn't work for them for whatever reason? Does it work with their complexion? Yeah, like so many factors that you have to take into consideration. You could be inspired by something, but you can't just take it and paste it. And I think that's what a lot of upcoming photographers need to work on. You also have to understand like their religious backgrounds and their cultural beliefs and apply it somehow into what what their photos are. You have to understand, is this couple okay with kissing in public, in their engagement shoot, or are they not? Are they maybe even on the wedding day they're not okay with it? There's so many things
But
like
later they're okay,
later
right?
on,
Oh,
yeah. But
I hope so. They're getting married.
well, like when they're in front of their parents, they're very
Yes, yes.
shy.
No, it's just a joke. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I think you talk about something very important, because when I still do workshops and I run projects with the youth today, and I find the first source Instagram images.
Yes.
And it's okay to look everywhere, Google, Instagram, whatever you want to
Pinterest.
look,
Yeah.
whatever you want to look whatever you want to look. But sometimes I ask them, where is the source of this? And they don't know.
Yes.
And it's not they just don't know. They're not interested to understand the source.
Yes.
So one of the things I do with those groups of students, I take them to museums.
Oh, yes, yes.
And then I'm like, let's track the source. Let's track the first image. Let's track the artist who created the first thing in that particular style.
Yeah.
So at least you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they say there's nothing under the sun, nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And we all need to do what you said. Like
Study
we
more.
take references from the people that we
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
At one point you bump into yourself.
Yes. Yes.
But I find, I don't know, maybe they're less interested to understand the process.
They just want the couples, the money to come in. And if you do it for the money,
Instead,
it's instant gratification. You can't do it for the money. You have to do it because you love it. So even if you go shoot a wedding for free, I'm not saying do that. I'm not saying that's a great idea. It's not. But even if you were to say shoot a wedding for free, would you still love it? Would you still love what you're doing? So I think that's like how you really decide it.
so passion
Drives it.
and love what you do is to drive you to be a better artist every day.
Yes. Because how are what's going to make each wedding look different than the other? Yes, the decor helps, the couple helps and stuff, but how are you going to shoot the groom differently in every wedding? How are you going to shoot the bride differently in every wedding? How are you going to shoot the bridal party differently in every wedding? When the bride and groom they look at the photo, they're going to be like, wow, this is us. Not, this
or
reminds
whatever
me.
you're doing, right?
Yes.
The way you like getting the architecture element, the horse moment, right?
Yeah.
It's how you're going to make that thing. Remember, going back to your quote, that thing work,
Yeah.
right? I love that. Actually, I use the word thing. Say, whatever that thing is, you got to make that happen.
Yeah.
And that's what caught me about your quote. I'm like, this is like a profound quote. to make that thing work, there are many moving parts
Yes.
that make that one thing work. And that
Yes.
one thing work makes other ones work.
Yes.
What I want to ask you, Donia, in closing
Yeah.
our show today is look the camera and tell the next generation what do they should do if they have an interest in photography
Yeah.
or to pursue a career as an artist, as a photographer.
Just first of all, just make sure you have the passion for it. I mean, if you're gonna pursue it, you definitely have the passion for it. Keep working at it, keep studying, keep looking at old artists, new artists, learn from everything. Never think that you have reached your best. Once you think that you're the best of the best, you automatically know you're not the best. Just keep working at it. That you're gonna have days where you're gonna wanna sometimes give up. There's always gonna be someone who says something not nice to you about your work or anything really. Keep going. It's going to pay off. And if it's your passion, never let go of it.
So I love what you're saying. It's not just about talent.
Yes.
It's about recognizing you have a talent, but then put the work hard
Work hard.
towards perfection.
Yes.
Anything, the
Yeah.
style, the process,
Yes.
the end result, right? And
Yes.
going at it over and over again.
Yeah.
Donia, thank you so
Well, thank
much.
you, Judah.
We actually gonna have Donia's information. This is a place of a platform for education and promotion. When I have your information here, somebody wants to contact you,
Yeah.
that will be available. I mean, thank you so much.
thank you, Judah.
I love your photography because I
you.
think your photography really captures. You're gonna laugh now. An artistic thing.
Yeah.
And then what defines that thing, right?
Yeah.
Is everything that informs you, everything the process you went through. And that's the Donia style. To me, has a very artistic style and continue to do great things. Amazing. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being here.
Judah. Thank you.
Appreciate.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.